welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We know Boise State is the top team in the Mountain West Conference, but what about everybody else? What about the other teams that are looking to dethrone the Broncos? This conference, guys, has a lot more competitors than you realize, and a handful of teams that may surprise you. And today, we are here to break down every single one of those teams with our official Mountain West Conference recap. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our exclusive expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. So if you're looking to win big with us, if you're looking to beat out over 80% of the national handicappers, just like we have each of the last 6 years, this is the place for you. You're not going to find a price this low. You're not going to find as many picks as we're giving you anywhere else. Some of the best customer service factored in there as well. This is the place for you this college football season. Go sign up today over on thegridironexpert.com and become a member of our GE Nation. So let's go ahead and pull it up. 12 teams in the Mountain West, not including the honorary members in Washington State and Oregon State. I guess technically that's the Pac-2. Although a lot of those Washington State and Oregon State are going to be playing a lot of Mountain West teams and vice versa, none of those games will count towards the conference standings. So some great fun matchups in there, but we're not going to break down the Cougars and Beavers today. We already did individual videos over those programs, so go check those out if you're interested. But you take a look at the standings, we said it, Boise State sits at the top of the conference alone, 11-1, 7-0. We did an individual video over the Broncos, doing a deeper dive into this roster, this team, their schedule, and the schedule lines up great for them. Their toughest game, Oregon. That's who we have them losing to, on the road at Oregon. I think that's pretty respectable. After that, their toughest games are at UNLV, who they beat in the Mountain West Championship last year, and on the road at Wyoming, who they are 17-1 all-time against, or at least lately in the last 18 years. So, this is a Boise State team that's loaded. Malachi Nelson, 5-star transfer quarterback. Ashton Jeanty at running back, a loaded defense. Spencer Danielson, now the new head coach, some new life into this program. The Broncos are a legitimate contender to make the college football playoff. If they can go 11-1, undefeated in conference play, and then win the Mountain West, we'll find out if they do, they have a great chance and a great case to make that playoff. Behind them, though, two teams fighting for second. Two teams that are fighting for the top spot in the conference, UNLV and Air Force, both 8-4, 6-1 in conference play. We have the Rebels taking over the second spot, beating out Air Force. They do not play each other in the regular season. Based on the tie-breaking scenarios, we do have UNLV ahead of the Falcons. They went 9-5 last year. First year under Barry Odom, made their first bowl game since 2013, and were the Mountain West runner-ups. I mean, what a debut for him and this program. Now, they've got a lot of talent coming back. Matthew Sluka comes in, threw for over 5,900 yards during his time as quarterback at Holy Cross. 3 of their top 4 wide receivers return, and 6 starters are back on defense. So despite the loss of a couple key players here and there, and despite the unfortunate finish to the year, losing to Boise State and then Kansas in their bowl game, UNLV has a lot of talent. They've got a pretty solid coach in Barry Odom, who I think is perfect for UNLV, kind of a perfect middle ground for him. I don't think he's good enough to be a power coach anywhere. I know he was mediocre at Missouri. UNLV seems perfect for him. They've got the talent to make another run for a Mountain West title. They do have a tough non-conference slate at Houston, at Kansas, and their bowl game rematch. Syracuse out in Vegas. They do host Boise State, so that could be big in terms of the standings. Ultimately, believe the Broncos get the best of them, but UNLV will have their second chance in the Mountain West Championship game. Air Force right behind them, just missing out. The Falcons 9-4 last year. Really bad finish. Started 8-0. Some people thought maybe they could flirt with a New Year's Six bowl spot, but went 1-4 down the stretch. The game that mattered the most, though, their bowl game, they did win to clinch that 9th win of the year. They do now lose their top 3 rushers. They lose all 5 of their offensive linemen, only have 4 starters back on defense. So I am concerned about experience for Air Force, but we have seen Troy Calhoun do this time and time again. We've seen all the military academies do this time and time again, where they are devoid of a lot of experience, a lot of starters returning, and yet they still find a way to crank out victories. I think that's exactly what's going to happen for the Falcons this year. 8-4, still contenders. Fresno State, still contenders, despite the loss of their head coach, Jeff Tedford. Tedford, about a month ago, stepping down again, kind of been fluctuating over the last few years due to health reasons, personal reasons, things like that. Tim Skipper is going to be the head coach for the Bulldogs this year. I think he's going to do very well. Been with the program for a while, has been the associate head coach for a while, led them in their bowl game, I believe it was just last year. So he's got a little bit of coaching experience, familiar with this team, familiar with this program, and they've got talent, man. 8 starters back on offense. Mikey Keene, returns at quarterback. You've got Malik Sherrod returning at running back. Jalen Moss returning at wide receiver. 5 starters back on defense after giving up just 23.5 points per game last year. The Bulldogs should not be overlooked. They are a dangerous, dangerous team to maybe get to the Mountain West Championship. We only have them missing out by 1 game and still winning 8 games overall. They do have to go to Michigan to open up the year. Not ideal to open up against the reigning champs. At UNLV, at Air Force, at UCLA. Regardless, this will be a winning season. They are conference title contenders, no doubt about it. Colorado State. Colorado State, 7-5. How about that? Really? The Rams at 7-5? Yes, 5-2 in conference play. They went 5-7 last year. Should have been a bowl team. Had 3 one-possession losses. And I like what they've got on offense this year for the Rams. Braden Fowler Nicolosi threw for over 3,400 yards last year, and the Rams averaged over 300 passing yards per game. So they've got their quarterback returning, and they've got their top wide receiver returning as well, and Torrey Horton, who had over 1,100 reception yards last year. Factor in 7 starters back on defense, which is the area that needs the most work. The Rams will be a bowl team this year and will clinch a winning regular season. I truly, truly believe that. I'm very excited for this team. Same for Wyoming, right behind them. 7-5, 5-2. Jay Salville coming in as the new head coach, replacing the, I'm going to say, the legendary Craig Bowl and the job that he did over the course of his career, especially with the Cowboys. But Wyoming, despite the loss of Bowl, despite the loss of a handful of other starters, are still a force to be reckoned with. They've got Harrison Whaley returning at running back, who's one of the best running backs in this conference. The Cowboys averaged over 150 rushing yards per game last year. 7 starters are back on defense, and that was Salville's kind of area of expertise. He was the defensive coordinator for Wyoming from 2019 to 2023. In each of those seasons, the Cowboys never allowed more than 23.9 points per game. So they've always had a strong defense under him. Would expect nothing less again this year. If the Cowboys can improve their passing game, and they should, they will have a very successful season. 7-5 for a shot at 8 wins. Nothing to frown about, especially with a new coach. Hawaii. How about the Rainbow Warriors? 6-6 for Hawaii. I love what the Rainbow Warriors are doing, man. They are slowly but surely rebuilding this program. Last year, they were kind of sneaky good. Put off 3 outright upsets. Finished the year at 5-8. They had 2 one-possession losses, too, so we're very close to getting to a 6-7, 7-6 kind of team. They played 13 games. They didn't go to a bowl game or anything. They just played 13 games. But this is a team that has a lot of talent, especially offensively. Braden Shager returns at quarterback, and it's getting better and better with each game, I should say. And then they've got his top 6 pass catchers returning as well. This is a team that wants to throw the ball. That is their primary objective, eclipsing over 275 passing yards per game last year. So a veteran quarterback, a veteran wide receiver core, and a defense that now returns 7 starters and improved by 53 yards per game last year. They can improve a little bit more, and Hawaii could flirt with bowl eligibility this season. We do have them at 6-6 this year. San Diego State, San Jose State, Utah State, New Mexico, Nevada, all finishing below 500. So I know it's kind of crazy to think that we've only got, about 7 of the 12 teams hitting 6 wins at 500 or above. We kind of mentioned at the beginning of the video, this conference feels relatively top-heavy. There's a lot of quality teams and then a lot of teams that are nowhere near competing with the top dogs, and that's the case for these other teams we're about to mention. San Diego State, new head coach, Sean Lewis, the former head coach at Kent State, the offensive coordinator with Colorado last year, takes the head coaching job for the Aztecs. The flash fast, right? That's what he ran at Kent State. He wants to go fast. He wants to go up tempo. He wants to put up a lot of points, a lot of yards. I think he can do that with San Diego State. I'm just not sure it's going to happen in year 1. I think they're going to go through some growing pains. I'm not sure A.J. Duffy is the guy to do that at quarterback. I think the Aztecs are competitive from time to time. We've got them going 3-4 in conference play. Not too bad. The non-conference, though, relatively difficult. 4-8 for Sean Lewis. Next year, though, I do expect a bowl game. San Jose State, 3-9, just 1-6 in conference play. Ken Numatalolo went 109-83 during his time as head coach at Navy from 2008 to 2022. He's the new head coach of the Spartans, but he's got a massive rebuilding project. San Jose State loses their quarterback, their top 4 rushers, 3 of their top 4 pass catchers, 5 of their top 6 tacklers, and only have 7 total starters back on with the program. So you got a roster that's kind of devoid of talent right now, going through a rebuild, going through new schemes. You've got a schedule that has them face all the toughest teams, Boise State, UNLV, guys like that, all the tough teams, in addition to Washington State and Oregon State and Stanford. it's just not in the card. It's going to be, again, a rebuilding project for San Jose State, which is one of the most difficult places to win in the country. Not their stadium per se, but as a program. It's hard to win there as a coach. Utah State. If Blake Anderson hadn't gotten involved in this scandal and hadn't gotten let go, I might have had the Aggies a little bit higher. Probably would have had Utah State in a bowl game. They've got talent, but just a few weeks ago, I mean, we're right around the corner from starting this season. Blake Anderson gets let go amid all of the investigations happening within that campus and that university. You wonder what that does to a team. Right before the season starts, you get hit with this bombshell. You've got the coaches gone. What's the mindset of these players? What's the mindset of this staff right now? The Aggies have 15 starters coming back, but Spencer Petras is their quarterback. If you watch Iowa football, that does not give you warm, fuzzy feelings. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Aggies now. I really am concerned about their mindset. I'm concerned about what this does for their team. Derails the momentum, derails the mindset. 6-7 last year, losing their bowl game. It's going to be a bad losing season again. I've got them at 2-10. Factor in all that plus the tough schedule, games against USC, Utah, Boise State, Wyoming, Washington State, Colorado State. If they were going to go bowling, it'd be 6-6 probably anyways. Probably not 7-5 or 8-4 or anything. But I think it's going to be a bad down year for the Aggies considering all the off-field issues. New Mexico, I love it. Bronco Mendenhall returns to the sidelines, returns back to the coaching ranks for the first time since 2021. The Lobos went 4-8 last year, which by their standards is pretty good. Think they're going to regress a little bit if Mendenhall tries to get back into the swing of things, tries to implement his schemes with this program. I think it was a phenomenal hire, and I think he will get the Lobos back to competing in the Mountain West, competing for a bowl berth. Just not this year. Again, a lot of these teams are going through growing pains. This team allowed over 35 points per game last year. Yes, they have some talent offensively, but it's not going to do you any good if the defense struggles. I expect it to be the case once again. Mendenhall's going to get this team there, but you got to be patient. Same for Nevada. I think Jeff Choate can get them there. Co-defensive coordinator at Texas the last 3 years, now the head man in Nevada, head coach of the Wolfpack. They went 2-10 last year, 2-10 the year before. Yes, they've got a solid quarterback room in Brendan Lewis and Chubba Purdy, but that's about it. A lot of question marks on both sides of the ball. Factor in a brutal non-conference that could see them start 0-4, games against SMU, Troy, Georgia Southern, and Minnesota. And then in conference play, playing Colorado State, Boise State, Air Force, and UNLV. They're not going bowling. They're not really competing much this year. They're just trying to figure things out. 1-11, no conference wins for the Wolfpack. All that being said, the top two teams are UNLV and Boise State, a rematch of last year's Mountain West Championship game. Last year, these two teams met, and Boise State pulled off the, slight upset? Maybe they were slight favorites. Either way, UNLV did have the better record. Boise State got the job done, won the conference, and they're going to do that again this year. There's no need to delay it, to draw it out, to leave it in suspense. Boise State is the best team in this conference from top to bottom. I think they've got the best offense. I think they've got the best defense. They've got a really good up-and-coming coach in Spencer Danielson, who got the interim tag removed very quickly when he took over last year after the firing of Andy Avalos. They are loaded with talent. This year, the expectation is to win the conference and flirt with the 12-team college football playoff, and that's exactly what they're going to do. 12-1 for the Broncos, the only loss to Oregon. They will have a very, very strong case to hear their name called on Selection Sunday and have their shot at a national championship. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our exclusive expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Do not miss out on those. Go sign up for those today and become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.